Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Lore of League of Legends. We've had some rather surprising weather patterns at the moment, and this next champion will provide us with nothing different. Without too much of an introduction, I present to you the lore of Janna, the Storm's Fury. Enjoy. Janna now resides herself in the clean, friendly city of Piltover, but it wasn't always such. She was an orphan in the slums of Zorn. Abandoned by her parents, she had to care for herself through any means that allowed her to survive. Usually her wits were enough to get her out of trouble and provide her with the necessary resources. But on other occasions, she had to resort to stealing food from market stalls so as not to starve. She was always trying to make the most out of her current situation, no matter how terrible it seemed. But growing up in the slums of Zorn was not easy. It was a place where literally anything and everything could happen. A mixture of failed chemical concoctions, magical experiments, and hextech devices were regularly dumped into the slums, which often resulted in unstable storms of magic and events that could be considered unusual. In any other place they would be considered strange, but in Zorn's slums it was everyday life. Janna had been growing up watching it for years. But while watching all the mysterious actions happen, Janna had become lured by power and potential of magic. She could see all the different results that could come when left to itself. She hoped that mastering the arts of magic would allow her to improve her life and become something more than one of the many orphans that graced the slums. She then dedicated her whole life to the mastery of magic, and even though she could get no formal education on her own, she was doing her best to band wild magic into submitting to her. As it turns out, Janna had a natural affinity for a particular type of magic, the elemental power of air. Without any teachers but more the teachings of old books and her instincts, she'd mastered air magic in a matter of months. It was almost as if it was completely natural to her, proving that she was something more than just a simple orphan craving the ability to cast spells. She's been accepted as a student by many masters of magic since, but not everyone could help her advance further along than she already was. As her powers grew, Janna's outer look was changing as well. She went from a street vagrant to an avatar of air within a couple of months. She was no longer a dirty girl from the streets, and now seemed to be floating in the air as she moved, with a warm breeze flowing wherever she went. Her hair never seemed to be still, just like her clothes. They always waved, no matter whether she was outside or in. As Janna advanced through the social ranks, she eventually left Zorn and moved to the Institute of War. She never forgot that the toxic, waste-filled slums of Zorn were her inspiration to try magic in the first place, but she also knew how dangerous life was due to the pollution. She still remembers how many of her friends weren't fortunate enough to survive into adulthood. She's reached out to the League, becoming one of their champions, and soon started using her position to start a debate about the regulation of magical experimentation and supporting techmaturgy as a much clearer way of development when compared to the aggressive hextech. In other words, she is intentionally supporting the views of Piltover and was soon invited into the city due to the common goals she shared with the government of the city-state. Janna has become one of the League's most popular champions since she was first introduced, and often visits all sorts of events, often organised by the League itself, where people all across Valoran can meet their idols in person. Her unique ethereal beauty makes her especially popular amongst male fans. But there's also something untouchable about Janna. Many are afraid, but she can be appreciated from a distance. Upon closer contact, though, she could just disperse like a fog, or turn into a deadly hurricane. And that's all I've got for you this time around. Let me know what you thought of the video by hitting the like button and leaving your feedback in the comments section below. Don't forget, there's been a huge number of champions covered at this point and there's only a couple of handfuls left. You can check who's been done by hitting the annotation at the top of the screen to take you to the playlist. Thanks for watching everyone, and as always, I'll see you next time.